Good evening. Welcome to Moments with Lady K and Mistah T Show, where they converse on motivational living, clearing negativity from your life, local events, and more. Here are your hosts, Kimberly McLemore and Tareq Coles.
All right, good evening and welcome to Moments with Lady K and Mistah T Show, where they converse in motivational living, clearing negativity from your life, local events, and more. And you have our hosts, stars Kimberly McLemore and Teryck Coles. And welcome to Moments with Lady K and Mistah T, you guys. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, and better known as Lady K. And then I have on the other end,
Mr. T.
All righty then. Whew, okay. So we are back and we're excited. Things are slowly getting back to normal. But now we're going to talk about some amazing things. We have an amazing topic that we're going to be diving into. But before we get into the topic, which we will talk about in a second, I want to hear about what's going on with my buddy, Mr. T.
Hey, thank you, Lady K. Everybody out there, I'm Mr. T, also known as Teryck Coles. I am the owner and operator of Move With T, that's MOVEWITH here in Northern Virginia, a fitness company that combines holistic teaching with regular physical fitness. Also, I'm a former dancer and a former published writer, which I shared during our interview on your other platform back in February. I'm a contributing writer to the Z Beat. What else is going on with me? I'm a doggy daddy. Always happy to talk about that. To a wonderful little obedient and quiet and really all around awesome doggy named Pepper, who is full of lots of spunk and sass and pizzazz. He's really, really nice. I want to say that's about it. I feel like I never know what to say, and I just start going. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. And I'm an avid watcher of Netflix, so get into it. Oh, and I do need to mention this because I haven't mentioned this in our last couple episodes, but I am sorry for those of you who disagree, but I am part of the Beehive. I love Miss Beyonce, Giselle Knowles-Carter. She can do no wrong. I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much.
2 snaps of the twirl on that one, okay?
I just realized I haven't shouted Beyonce out in a while. I was like, I got to give her a shout out.
Yeah, not differently.
She might be listening. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But if she is, then she'll hear that shout out.
That's right. Look, as I say, you don't have her get mad at you now. You know, you're supposed to be one of her number one fans, so.
Right.
Yeah, can't be dissing her like that. But of course, I'm sure she would understand. Things have been a little crazy, and like I said, we're trying to get back to some normalcy in our lives during the month of June. So wow. So, as you can see, he always has amazing things going on with himself. And he, like I said, it's hard to figure out what we constantly do all the time. And especially when you have to talk about yourself, it's one thing when somebody else is saying it for you. So I get it. Yeah, definitely get it. But as for me, for those who don't know who I am, as I said, I am Kimberly McLemore. Most people call me author Kimberly McLemore because I am a award-winning author. I have 3 amazing books that I have. Been working on the 4th one for a little while because, it's funny how timing is everything, for a book coming out. And even though it's written, I'm just not ready to release it yet. So that, look for that in the near future here this year. It'll come out. I'm just not ready for it to come out yet. And then, of course, beyond that, with writing books and so forth, I'm definitely a book coach, and I teach people how to self-publish as well. But I also have another amazing platform called WSBI, which is the Women's Small Business Initiative. and it is in a online platform. But my biggest focus now has really been more on the podcast. I've been doing it for 4 years, and it has been an amazing podcast that has grown tremendously. So that has been my new focus. I have a new website that has been completely redone. If you haven't seen it, you need to go out and look at it so you can definitely see how things have changed and how we're moving forward in the future of WSBI. And of course, I do have 2 other shows that I do, which is the Your Resource for Success podcast, and then I have the Author's Corner. So, the podcasting has been something that's been a part of my life for a while, but it's been something that I hadn't really focused on as much as I should, and or needed to is the better word for it. So, take a check out and gander out and realize, what we're doing and what we're accomplishing in our communities, and how other people are definitely accomplishing other things within our communities and outside of our communities, and actually all over the world. People are doing something unique in their lives and sharing resources so that you all know how to do it without having to reinvent the wheel. So that's just a little bit about me. So let's kind of dive and, I'm going to forget about myself for about 2 seconds. Because that's about as long as it's going to last, okay, by the time we get into this topic that we're going to be talking about today. So the topic is really great. We back in March and April, we really talked about some amazing topics, going with the flow, get you nowhere. In March and April, we talked about living the life you have yet to live, setting intentions. And in May, we did something different, but, we're back into the grind of what we really talk about when it comes to motivational living and creating, keeping the negativity out, but really diving into things that we think are important as individuals that we look at. And so this month, we're going to be focusing on support people while they are on their journey to reach their destination, not when they arrive. So I love this topic. I can't wait to get into it. And I'm going to give my kudos to my boy, because he has been on it, helping us out, helping my brain out to think about what topics we're going to be talking about this month. So T, I love me some T. So T, you are going to go first on this topic, because like I said, you have been really, really thinking, inside your mind about how we really want to focus and talk to our listeners, and our topics have really been flowing really, really cool, and that's because of Mr. T. So Mr. T, why don't you talk a little bit about how this topic support people while they're on their journey, what that really means?
Okay, sure thing. Thank you, Lady K.
You're welcome.
And I was going to say, as far as the topics, I always believe things should happen organically. Mm-hmm. So just as I get a note, I think I shared this with you, as I get a note or a thought in my mind about something, I just I have a special little a memo that's dedicated just to basically coming up with show topics and ideas. And sometimes I hear something, sometimes somebody may say something that strikes me, or I may read something somewhere. So, I'm all about things, happening organically, because then I feel like I can really speak to things. And also, one thing that I think is so important is I always say that I believe in giving experience, not advice. Mm-hmm. So I always try to speak to things that, I can actually say that I've experienced in some way, shape, or form. This is off topic, but the other day, some coworkers and I were having a conversation just around the desk, and one person started giving advice, and he admitted that he had no experience on the topic, on the conversational topic, and I could tell, because just before he said that, everything he was saying was kind of like classic response for somebody who's never had that happen. So I was like, what is he talking about? He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then he admitted to it. And then after that, I came in and I said, I believe in giving experience, not advice. I said that, and that was kind of a little shot toward him that, like, you need to speak on what you know. So,
exactly.
But I guess to get back around to our topic at hand, supporting people while they're on their journey to reach their destination and not when they arrive. I thought this was really, really important, because as a business owner, I've seen people who don't seem to support people while they're kind of grinding, out there, when they're trying to like stake make their claim or take their stake in or their place in the universe. It's only after that people achieve a certain level of success that some people are interested in acknowledging them. And I think that that's something that's, number one, not right. Because, I think they say that you find out who your friends are
Amen.
when you're in your worst times, So, your biggest supporters are the ones that are supporting you from ground zero. And I think it's unfortunate that sometimes people don't support other people as they're journeying. And oftentimes, I shouldn't say oftentimes, but in some capacities, some folks will actually intentionally try to, attack you, to keep you down, to hinder your success. It's almost like no matter what you know about yourself, other people are keenly aware of what your potential is. And sometimes in an effort for you to not be bigger than them, they'll like intentionally try to stifle your light and who you are, which I think is unfortunate. And because I feel like I've experienced it, and I'm sure as a business owner, you have also experienced this. And for those out there listening, I've had little therapy sessions with friends who are also business owners who, that they would I would speak to them intentionally because I know that they would understand,
right?
Whatever stress I might be going through, because if you're not in this, and I've heard people who are like entertainers, talk about this. If you're not in this life, you really don't understand it. So I can talk to you all day about it, but at the end of the day, if you don't understand it, I'm just kind of like talking to the wall. I mean,
exactly.
It's kind of like, thank you. Yeah. It's like, thank you for listening, but you can't really give me any feedback. So,
right.
And I'm very appreciative personally, from my other half who I can talk to about things, but at the same time, I know that what we do is different. So at the end of, once again, like I said, at the end of the day, you're a comforting listening ear, which I appreciate. But if I really want feedback or experience, I need to speak to someone else who understands. But yeah, that's really what I got for this is, I think that it's unfortunate that sometimes people intentionally try to keep other folks down, but it's so important. And anyone who's ever been on their grind doing anything, whether it's a business, whether it's in entertainment, going to school to become, whatever you're in school to become, it's those people who support you as you are in the midst of what is the word I want to use? It's the people who support you when you're in the midst of it all that you appreciate.
Exactly.
Once you get to the other side, and then of course there's that term. What was it I remember back in like the 80s or 90s, fair weather friends. So you don't want fair weather friends.
Right.
Those are the ones that you hang out with when everything's good. Or a friend of mine, he used to call it his kikis. So he said, oh yeah, that's my good kiki girlfriend. Yeah, we're gonna go out and have lunch or whatever, do a little shopping. But that person's not the person you call in the middle of the night when you got a crisis going on.
Right.
Yeah,
you're gonna be there.
That's the person. Exactly, that's the person you go to the club with, or you go out and have some libations with, and you chit chat, and it's just all surface and superficial. So, but yeah, so that's what I think about this is And this came from a place that I don't want to necessarily get into, but I've been fortunate enough that I've had people who continue to support me as I've continued to grow, move with T, as I've continued to journey by myself,
right.
Personally, who's continued to be there to support me, and I appreciate, like yourself, who I appreciate, and At the end, you're welcome. So at the end of the day, you all are the ones that I'll remember the most. And of course, all my movers and shakers out there who move and shake, whether we're on the bike, whether we're doing some dance fitness or we're doing some bar, and who come back class after class, time after time, I got to give them shouts out as well. So, I've told many of my classes, especially with the dance fitness piece, that it's because of you all that I'm able to do what it is that I enjoy. And, they've allowed me to come in and make mistakes and not be perfect and try some things out, sometimes, and you've been in classes before where you might see a routine and be like, what is this? And like, I'm just trying something different. And then, you can tell when it doesn't work out and you're like, let me scrap that, or I'm gonna have to go back and revisit it. But I'm always appreciative of like my students, whether, like I said, no matter which format I'm teaching, giving me good feedback, so I can be a better instructor and do what it is that I do, and continue to hone what it is I'm truly passionate about. So
exactly,
there you go.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit, because when I was sitting there thinking and laughing, you were talking about how when we're talking about experience, not so much the other of, and so I'm sitting here thinking to myself, yeah, you always have somebody who's going to try to tell you something that they've never experienced and have never done. And I was simply thinking, well, that's just like sitting here telling somebody, well, how to have a baby and you've never been pregnant, So it's that constant, it's that constant somebody trying to tell you what to do, but don't have a clue, what it really means to be pregnant, so it's the same scenario when it comes to what we're talking about. And then of course, diving into the supporting people while they're on their journey. My big motto, and I've always tell people, and I actually have a picture that sits right in front of me here in my office, and it's called Trust the Journey That You're On. It's called Trust the Journey. I always add that you're on, because we all are on different journeys. But when it comes to being in business, your experience has been a little different than mine when it comes to, some people are there for you in the beginning, and they're down for you, and they're going to support you all the way. But what I have learned to experience is that once you have what we consider make it, and you're not down on that ground level anymore, and you're continuing to grow, but you're doing really well, I have seen more people walk away than stay. For whatever reason, some people feel like they don't think that you need them anymore, or you're doing fine, and why do you need my support, or why should I have to pay for this? I remember when you were doing it this way. There's always some added thought process of what people think you're really going through when they don't know. And a big part of that is because they're not on your journey. They're not in that space of business that you're doing. They don't even know what it means to run a space, even though they may be supportive on one half, and whether it's just a listening ear, or whether it's, hey, I'm going to buy your products or use your services or come to your classes, or whatever it is the case that is that you have as a business. I've always seen it that some people just don't want to support you anymore and there's not about whether you've had a bad relationship with that individual. Some people just don't feel that you deserve that. And I don't think I will ever understand it. And it's funny because we're having this conversation my father has been in business for more than 50 years. It's been 52 years. And we've always had the same conversation where he's even experienced that after all these years, some people don't think he deserves to continue to have their support in business. And I don't understand that, because I think it's really ridiculous to think that, we're in business because we are trying to support our families, and ourselves. And we believe in what we're doing as far as, yes, we're helping individuals, but at the same token, we have our lives, our bills don't stop because somebody thinks that we don't deserve it, And so I find that very interesting, how the dynamic can be so left or so right, and not so much in the middle when it comes to supporting people on their journey. And then, like I said, some will help, once they feel that you have arrived, they think that you're valuable enough that they will come and support you. There are definitely those individuals out there. And to me, to some degree, I find it somewhat sad, because at the end of the day, the only thing I look at is that, we're in business for a purpose. And, if I can support you, I'm going to support you. I think the thing that will turn me off when it comes to supporting some people or not so much the people as much as their businesses is about the fact that how they run it. Their customer service may not be at a certain level. Maybe they don't really appreciate those individuals who are coming in and trying to support you, and how they respond. So there's definitely reasons why some people don't do what they do, but I would definitely have found that in my experience as being a business owner, those have been some of the comments, that I've heard, and have actually had people come and tell me, well, I don't think you deserve it. You don't need me anymore. So you have to definitely laugh about it a little bit, because otherwise it would drive you crazy. And then, of course, it can also help. It can put you in a negative, feeling of, why am I even in business? Why am I here to help people who really don't value what you're putting to the table for them? Because as we know, being in small business can be very difficult, and a lot of people don't really understand what the process is and what it takes to build a business. And most people who don't know business don't realize that you can be in and out of business in less than 90 days. And that's normally, what happens to people when things go to if they're not prepared, they haven't done their research. They think they can just open up a business overnight and be successful and maintain it. It's much bigger picture. And as we know, as we even gone through what we all just recently went through with business having to be mandated and shut down because of the virus and so forth, a lot of people had to shut their doors. They did not know when they were going to get their next meal, so to speak, or when they were going to have money to pay. They couldn't pay their employees. They couldn't, take care of their families. They couldn't take care of themselves. So all these little things that when people don't believe that we need them in business, we need them. And it's important to us to have that support while we're on our journey all the way across, because there were a lot of people who couldn't, if they weren't in restaurants, they couldn't continue to cook and serve their food so people could support them by coming in, and ordering out and so forth, or because there are businesses, what I would consider essential would have been like my hair and my nails, which a lot of us feel that are more essential. They weren't able to stay open. We weren't able to support them. So, when you think about people who have been on those journeys, I mean, I sit back and think about how I thought about opening up a brick and mortar just within a matter of a month or two before all the virus stuff had even happened. And I was like, why is it such a struggle for me to say yes to open up this brick and mortar? That was definitely God telling me, no, you can't do this right now. We don't think about it as being something important at the time. I was, a little disappointed with myself saying, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, but there's reasons for everything. And at the thought of that, if I had done that, I couldn't have stayed open, and I would have had all this stress, on top of me. And, that's what we're talking about, is that people don't understand that supporting you while you're on your journey, no matter what that journey is so valuable. And so it's not about waiting till people arrive. And even if they arrive, you should still constantly support them, because there are so many people out here every day who are trying to live their lives to the best of their ability. And now people are struggling to move forward consistently. And to be honest with you, it definitely makes you think twice about how you're going to handle, whether it's personally or professionally, your business. Your mindset has to change, your thought process of whether it's, how much money do I need to save? How am I going to be able to, handle another event? And pray that we don't have any more pandemic events. And Lord, in my lifetime, I pray that I never have to go through anything else like this again. But to realize that anything can happen, how prepared are you? And who are those people who are going to be there by your side, to help you get through this? Like I tell people, if you need a place to stay, let me know. If you need some food, let me know. You should not have to feel like you are hurting or starving anytime. So it's not just because we had this situation, it's even after the fact. So I just think that dealing with understanding personally what it means to reach our destiny and reach our goals in life, and how people are there for you, whether they're not there for you. We all, like I said, we do know those, where we call those so-called acquaintances that we know of. They do exist, and they're not always there for you, and we know who our friends are. And to be honest, I keep my pool is very small, and I know who I can pick up the phone to talk to. I know who I can trust. I know what is best for me and my family, and I consider my friends my family too. Those who know me know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's just been an interesting journey, being in business, and it definitely makes you think consistently all the time what works and what doesn't work, and who's there for you and who isn't.
Indeed. I was also thinking about some other things in regard to our topic today. I found I think it was I know it was a rapper. And it's a female rapper. And I remember her in one song, and I wish I could remember which song it was, but she said, "It's lonely at the top." And I remember there was a lot of things going on at the time, like with her career and like her changing like some like management and changing her team. But I remember a song that came out during that time, and that kind of reverberated with me. And I even shared that with a friend of mine who, I'll share some of his story, and I'll make it brief. He was sharing with me. He and I are the same age. We used to dance together back in the day. We were dancers together, and roommates, and we just all around good friends, and we're still good friends to this day. But he found that the people that he called his friends, now, or who are people that he and I both knew way back in the day, when we used to all go out, clubbing and partying and having fun. But he felt like they weren't including him in their activities, because he would say, "Hey, let's go catch a movie, or go go out and do this, that, or the third." And they were like, "Oh no, I'm busy." But then he would see, like, Facebook gets you in trouble every time. He'd see on Facebook that the same people he was looking to try to hang out with were out doing something together, and they were excluding him. And he felt some type of way about it. But I was also encouraging him, to go ahead and go to school, because he wanted to get his degree, and he's on his way to completing that degree, by the way. But it was me encouraging him, that he kind of kept him going, because like, stay focused on your goal. I said, because once again, it's lonely at the top. You're separating yourself from the pack.
Yep.
And unfortunately, what happens is people who are in a position where you come from the same place, they usually know what your potential is. And so they will eventually, as you start to realize your potential, they'll start to kind of naturally fall off. That dead weight will naturally start to, because they realize what you're doing and how you're coming into a different space. And I kept telling him, don't be afraid of that space. I said, just know you're going to be by yourself, but that's okay, because these people you're going to leave behind you, and you're going to meet an entirely new circle of people who are going to support you, who are doing what you're doing as well. And I was like, just look forward to that time. But right now, stay focused. I know it's a little lonely, but I would rather be lonely and working toward my goals and working toward achieving what it is I need to achieve, than to be surrounded by a bunch of people who just want to sit around and jaw jack. And as a girl, I used to know, she'd say Bojangle all day.
Exactly. Exactly.
And what I let them know, I mean, my thing with that is, these people are falling off from you. They're removing themselves from your space on purpose. And I said, when it comes down to it, they're not supporting you, but half of these people can't even support themselves. So, and because I know some of these people,
okay,
so,
exactly.
And I'm like, and they're still doing the same things that we did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where you and I have moved on and moved out of those spaces, and thankfully we've had the support and the encouragement that we needed, even if it's just encouraging each other at times, to continue moving forward on our path. So, for me, I come to this place where it's okay when people don't support you, because at the end of the day, it's weak people who need strength, not you.
Say that again.
You find out exactly. I said it's okay, when people don't support you, because at the end of the day, it's weak people who need strength, not you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very well said. And you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's a shame that sometimes we feel that we need that encouragement from our so-called friends, right? And not realizing that they really were never your friend. And it's okay to understand that. And like you said, those people who are dropping off to the wayside are the people that don't need to be there. They're not going to be supportive of you no matter what you do. And as you continue to grow, you're supposed to grow. We're supposed to not be in the same place that we were at 10 years ago. Even not even a year ago. You find yourself growing every day, wondering, like we reevaluate who we are. We self-assess what we're doing and why we do what we do. And if that person's not willing, like I tell people, if you ain't willing to get on this train, then get off. I have no problem with that, but don't sit there and think that it's okay for me to enlighten you every time you feel like you need it, and that's the other thing that people don't understand about reciprocation is that, we're all human beings and we all want to have some reciprocation in what we're doing, in life, whether it's personally or professionally. So I have no problem with definitely supporting people. I do it consistently day in and day out. And I don't always look for a pat on the back. I don't always expect anything from people. But at the same token, you do start to realize and learn that, every time you're reaching out or every time you're supporting people, those people, you have to be mindful in the back of your mind, keep it in the back of your mind that, they really don't care about you, even if they say that they care about you, because they show it. And so you definitely learn to get some tough skin in the game, especially if we're talking about business. And, you realize that it's going to be okay because you don't need those people to approve who you are or what you're doing. So, I love what you just said, because it just speaks volumes about what reality is about those people who are weak. And, we sometimes think that we are the weak ones because we're doing what we believe is right. We were doing what we feel is necessary to help those grow within themselves, but then not realizing we're really not the people with the problem. So, I love that statement that you made. It's important, very important.
I feel like I need to write that down.
You do, and you need to keep that. You need to keep that as part of Move with T. And sometimes just as a reminder, as a bullet point in your life that, we are going to have those moments. We go through them all the time. And just as individuals that we feel like, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't there, why aren't people there to support me in what I'm doing? And really, instead of turning the tables and realizing it's not even you're not the problem, but because we're human, we are going to have those down days. We are going to think that we're not doing something right because the way people respond to us. And like you were saying, that there are people who will do things so you don't even know why they're doing it. We're saying, like, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? What is really the problem? And then you have to take the onus off of yourself and realize you are not the problem. It's the other individual that is the problem. And that's why you're not going to get the support that you deserve to have. But I believe that the most important support is what God provides for me. And he is my strength and he gives me the will and the way of what I need to do. And for everybody else, like I said, if you want to come on this journey with me, I'd love to have you. But if you ain't, go on, go on your way, do what you feel like you need to do. Because,
amen.
I don't need no negativity
to a group of people.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't need no negativity around me. See enough of it, hear enough of it. Don't have time for your extra drama. So just keep it moving. Hello.
Amen. That's all I get off her right now. Is amen. Because I do remember there was a time just a few short years ago that I had a conversation with a small group of people who were at the time journeying with me, and some of them elected to no longer journey with me, and that's okay. But I had a conversation saying, you guys need to know that you're going to be looked at differently because you're associated with me. So you're going to be held to a higher standard now. Not to say that I'm like the pinnacle of all that is great and good in the world, but I was like, So you need to make a decision on how you want to continue the journey with me, or if you want to. And it came to pass that some of them had to slide off like dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't get into opening that up. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But but it was just like, ultimately some of those people still rock with me. Some of them do not, and it's cool either way. I respect those decisions. Go ahead, go forth, be fruitful, do whatever you're gonna do. I don't wish you any ill will, but keep my name out your mouth and we good.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, and that's the key.
Yeah,
don't be talking about me, right?
Right.
Why are you even talking about?
But if you're not rocking with me or talking to me, ain't no need for you to say my name.
Right, but the reason why most people talk about you is because you are doing something right, and that's the key. The other thing that we have to remember is that it's like I said, sometimes it's aggravating, but when I feel like if you have to put my name in your mouth 24/7, you got something you have to say, then I'm obviously doing something worthwhile to talk about. So exactly. It's a part of jealousy. It's a part of a lot of things that people are going through personally, that they feel like you have to be a part of their conversation or their life, and it's okay. The key thing is that most people are not going to say what they're saying in front of your face. It'll always be behind your back. And that's fine, because I feel if you're brave enough to come talk to me about it, whatever, come do what you feel like you need to do. We can have our conversation, but I will have no respect or have any dignity for those who feel that they want to destroy my world because of your childishness or your immaturity about who you think I am. And that's where most people make their mistakes, is that they really don't know who we are as individuals. And so they have a tendency to look on the outside and think that like I was saying earlier, think that you don't need anything or don't think that you're worthy. So they have to find negativity to surround them, only because it's not really about you. It really is about the individual themselves. So, we're doing the right thing. And I just think that people do realize that we're talking to them. They're those same people that see what we're going through. There's a million other people out here going through the same thing every day.
There you go. Speak on it.
Every day. So, like I said, we're always here to encourage. We're always here to share our experiences. As we said earlier, we have experiences. We're not talking out of the side of our mouths, or as they say, out of the side of your neck. This is true life. For us, this is what we experience, and being able to conversate about it sometimes is more healing than not. So. All right. Well, it's that time again. We have come to the end of another amazing show. It's just always so enjoyable to hang out with you. I just love hanging out with my Mr. T, and hate to have to drop the line on my Mr. T.
Yeah, well, I hate having to leave too, but I guess our listeners do need to get on with the rest of their day. And we still got to come up with a name for them. Last month, I think we said Momenteers, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I had some time to reflect about that. I don't know if that's what it is. So, really, listeners, if you have an idea for what we should call you guys out there in listener land, let us know. You can email us. You can hit us on Facebook and Instagram. Remember, our email is moments, T&K, MOMENTS, TANDK @gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Moments with Lady K and Mr. T. Of course, and then we're also on Instagram under Lady K and Mr. T Podcast, LADYKANDMISTAHT Podcast. So you can hit us up and let us know what you think we should kind of call you guys. So we have like a name for y'all, Hey.
Yeah, and what we'll also do is we will put this information on our Facebook page, so you can just click on the link and you can find us that way, because sometimes people aren't going to hear everything we're saying. They're listening, but then they're not listening, so you have to go back and re-listen to things all over again, because you might we're all human. We can't remember every little thing that people say. So definitely, though, follow us. We're here once a month. We have amazing conversational topics that we discuss that we have experienced and we share with our listeners and all over the world, because we think it's valuable, and it's important that, you know, people have the opportunity to just sit back and think about what we're talking about and how it has affected their lives, personally or professionally. So, you know, again, we really do appreciate you all coming on and listening to us tonight. Before we end the show, though, do you have any last words, Mr. T, that you would like to share with anybody?
All right. Well, I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier, because I did take time to write it down. It's okay when people don't support you. At the end of the day, weak people need strength, not you.
Well, y'all have heard it live from Mr. T on the Lady K and Mr. T show, Moments with Lady K and Mr. T show. Hey, if you haven't been inspired today or tonight by what we've been talking about, you need to rethink why you're not being inspired, what is holding you back, why you're not supporting your own self, and why you're not trusting the journey that you are on. But until next time, remember, we're here once a month on a Sunday. You can find us and follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and several other platforms. If you go to our social pages, you will be able to find those other links to those other platforms. But until next time, you have a good evening and good night.
Good night, everyone. Moments with Lady K and Mr. T will return next month at 7 p.m. Follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.